The media, I felt like, mishandled so many things with the WNBA last season, and specifically with Caitlin Clark and her fan base. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark.
There's just like a certain star quality and like star power there, but it takes you being confident enough, willing enough to be like, oh, no. I know what you want. Come here. I'm going to give it to you. I loved it so much.
Number one of the greatest single half performances I've ever seen in basketball. I've fully watched all of Magic, all of Bird, all of Chuck, all of Jordan, Ewing, Olajuwon, all of them. It was one of the best halves. It was in the top 5 best offensive halves of basketball I've ever seen.
Yep. I'm gonna say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
3 threes in 38 seconds in the first half. Caitlin Clark hit 3 logo bombs, by the way. 3 logo bombs in 38 seconds. This was the Caitlin Clark we all said, oh, she's different. She's sent from outer space. The Caitlin Clark that we saw today was the Caitlin Clark that we were accustomed to seeing. Oh, it feels good, folks.
There's been a lot of chatter lately surrounding Caitlin Clark's recent injury, and today we're diving straight into it. It's one of those situations that just feels heavy, and honestly, it looks like everything might be catching up to her. The pressure she's under, it's not just about performance anymore. It's emotional, physical, mental. The spotlight is relentless. And for someone as young as she is, carrying a whole franchise, a growing fan base, and sky-high expectations, it's a lot. Maybe it's the weight of missing out on All-Star Weekend too, but something deeper is going on here. As we dig into what really happened, it's important to note one thing. The injury everyone's talking about didn't appear to come from that final play. If you watch closely, you'll notice something happened well before the final whistle.
Wow, the Indiana Fever are just not fun to watch without Caitlin Clark.
Early in the game, there's clear footage showing JC Sheldon making contact with Caitlin. It looks like a knee rises right into her left side during a close defensive play. Was it intentional? Probably not. But it was a foul, plain and simple. Somehow, it wasn't called. Let's be honest here. Even if you don't think the contact was malicious, it still meets the criteria for a foul. Legs shouldn't be flying like that in the middle of traffic, especially not when the contact is that direct. It's not a flagrant move, and it's hard to argue that it was done on purpose, but the rules are the rules, and this one got missed completely. That's just bad officiating. Now, moving forward in the game, there's another moment that's raised eyebrows. After a timeout late in the fourth quarter, Caitlin comes back onto the floor. You can immediately see her grimace and clutch the left side of her lower body. She's clearly in discomfort.
This was an unbelievable ass kicking by Caitlin Clark.
And this isn't just any random moment. It's right before she knocks down a massive three-pointer. That shot nearly changed the game, but you can tell she's hurting. She's playing through something. There's no denying that, and this adds to the bigger picture. It looks like whatever happened earlier might have been bothering her all game long. Maybe it got worse after that timeout. Maybe she was already hurting before tip-off. We can't know for sure, but when you look at the way she moves afterward, it's obvious something's not right. Whether it's that early contact or just an accumulation of wear and tear, it's hard to pin down a single moment. Still, her toughness stands out. She's fighting through it. Then there's the defensive battle with Leilani. That sequence was physical on both ends. Clark takes a hit, bringing the ball up, then comes back and delivers one of her own. You could argue there were 2 fouls in that exchange, one on defense, then a push-off in response.
Second-year players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlin knows it's ridiculous. just out there having a good time with.
It's the kind of back-and-forth physical play that happens all the time, but when you mix in poor officiating, it starts to spiral. Stephanie White ends up calling a timeout, clearly frustrated with the way things were unfolding. That timeout ends up being a key moment, because when Clark comes back, that's when the visible pain begins. The other side of this story is whether she should have been in the game at all at that stage. Some people are questioning why she was still on the floor, but the truth is, the game wasn't over. Not even close. With about 3 minutes left and the score within 6 or 7 points, it's still very much in reach. This isn't garbage time. That's crunch time. Keeping your star player out there makes sense strategically, but in hindsight, it's also where everything changed. There's also speculation floating around that Clark may have entered the game already less than 100%. That wouldn't be surprising.
The Caitlin Clark show is very real, and Caitlin Clark's ability to rise to the moment and put on a show is remarkable.
She's been dealing with a string of soft tissue injuries, both groins, both quads. That's 4 different muscle issues, all in the lower body, and when you start adding those up, it points to something deeper. Maybe it's a conditioning issue. Maybe something mechanical in the way she runs is putting added stress in those areas. Whatever it is, it's not going away overnight. From what's been said behind the scenes, there's a possibility that the team doctors have already told her that there's damage in the muscle tissue, nothing catastrophic, but something that won't heal until the off-season. If that's the case, then she's in a tricky spot. She can play through it, but doing so risks prolonging the issue or making it worse. So now the coaching staff and medical team are walking a fine line, trying to manage her minutes and keep her ready without sidelining her entirely.
Get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud locks her up.
Add all of that to the inconsistent officiating the Fever have faced all season, and the whole situation becomes even more frustrating. Whether or not the early contact from Sheldon directly caused the injury doesn't even matter anymore. It's about the lack of accountability from the referees. When a player takes a hit like that, something should be called, even if it's just a common foul. Ignoring it sets a dangerous precedent, especially for a player who already has a target on her back every night. And let's be clear, this isn't about accusing anyone of trying to hurt someone on purpose. Those kinds of accusations are serious and shouldn't be tossed around lightly. There was no lunge, no aggressive intent. This wasn't some reckless charge or retaliation. The play was physical, sure, but it looked like typical in-game contact. It's reckless to label it as anything more. That said, just because it wasn't intentional doesn't mean it was clean. It still needed a whistle. It's a shame we're even having this conversation. Everyone just wants to see Caitlin Clark healthy and playing at the level we know she's capable of. But right now, her situation feels fragile. There's just too much piling up. You've got the constant defensive pressure, the non-stop physicality, the missed calls, the emotional weight, and now another possible injury. It's a lot to deal with, especially in a rookie season. So where does that leave us? If you're trying to predict her availability for the next game, the odds don't look good. In fact, there's almost no chance she plays in the immediate future. And looking ahead to the All-Star game, it's also unlikely she suits up. Maybe there's a small chance, 25% at most. But with this much going on physically, taking time to rest feels like the smarter option. If she does somehow play, especially for an extended stretch, it might end up sending the wrong message. The league needs to protect its rising stars, not let them play through injuries for the sake of exposure or event hype. Optics matter, and rushing back would be risky, both for Clark's health and for how the league is perceived. This is one of those turning points where decisions made in the next few days could have long-term consequences. Pushing her now could affect the rest of her season. Taking time to heal could reset everything. It's a tough call for everyone involved. In the end, none of us know exactly how bad the injury is. Maybe it's nothing major, maybe it's just soreness. But when you've got a track record of recurring issues, it's hard not to worry. All we can do now is wait and hope she catches a break, because this grind she's been on doesn't show any signs of slowing down. And realistically, unless something changes, this likely won't be the last time we hear about a groin or quad issue this season. It feels like there's something deeper going on with her mechanics, or maybe just the demands of her role, that need to be addressed before things spiral further. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality right now. For now, the only thing we can hope for is that she gets the time and support she needs, not just to recover physically, but to recalibrate mentally and emotionally too. Because carrying this much pressure, battling through pain, and still showing up like she does, that takes a toll on anyone. There's a strange irony in watching a generational player like Caitlin be both the league's biggest asset and its most exposed target. Every night she steps on the court, there's a magnifying glass over her every move, both from defenders and from the public. That kind of attention is draining. And when it's paired with physical fatigue, the risk of breakdown becomes very real. She's no stranger to physicality, but this season, it's been different. It's felt personal at times, like defenders are out to make a statement on every possession. But it's not just about the contact, it's about the consistency or lack of it. One night, a push is called, the next, it's ignored. That kind of unpredictability forces players to adjust constantly. And when you're already nursing minor injuries, that adjustment becomes dangerous. Your balance shifts, your footing changes, you overcompensate. It's in those little corrections that even bigger injuries are born. That's where we might be with Caitlin now.
The league's officials haven't exactly helped the situation. Repeated no calls and inconsistent whistles have left players like her in a vulnerable spot. She's expected to perform, to lead, to electrify crowds, but she's not always given the same protection that others receive. There's a growing sense that her presence on the floor is being taken for granted, that her ability to endure has become an excuse to test her limits. That shouldn't be the case. Zooming out, this isn't just about one player. It's about the long-term implications for the WNBA. When the most marketable name in the league is visibly hurting, when she's getting up from the hardwood wincing in pain, and when the broadcast is showing her clutching at her side again and again, it sends a message, and not a good one. People start to wonder whether the league is doing enough to protect its stars, whether it's prepared for this level of attention, and whether it can adapt fast enough to support its growing audience. Caitlin's injury saga is just a symptom of a deeper issue. Her groin might be the focal point today, but the underlying problem is systemic. How many times have we seen her hit the floor with minimal consequence? How many missed whistles have contributed to where we are now? And how many more can she take before something worse happens? This shouldn't be about toughness. It should be about balance, about creating an environment where physical play is respected but not weaponized. And this isn't the first time we've seen something like this happen. Many greats before her have dealt with overuse, fatigue, and injury caused not by one singular hit, but by a mountain of micro stresses that go unchecked. What's different this time is the spotlight. Every step she takes is watched by millions. Every grimace is analyzed. That level of exposure accelerates everything, including the need for solutions. She's one of the few players in the league who can genuinely alter the trajectory of the sport. That kind of influence comes with responsibility, sure, but it also demands protection. And right now, it feels like that protection is missing. The crowd wants a show. The league wants momentum. But if her body keeps breaking down, none of that matters. She can't carry the league if she's sidelined. She can't change the game from the bench. Then there's the psychological weight. Getting knocked around and not getting the calls? That wears on a player mentally. It leads to frustration, to doubt, and eventually to hesitation. When you start second-guessing whether driving to the rim is worth the risk of contact, your entire game changes. You stop playing instinctively. You lose the edge that made you special in the first place. And for someone like Caitlin, whose style thrives on confidence and rhythm, that's a dangerous shift. You can sense it in her body language lately. The fire's still there, but it's dulled by something deeper, maybe exhaustion, maybe pain, maybe both. Her usual spark has flickered a bit, and no one can blame her. She's given everything, game after game, and yet it's clear the system around her hasn't held up its end. She keeps pushing forward, but the question remains, for how long? Even the fans are beginning to notice. They've seen the bruises, the limping, the long stares toward the bench, and as much as they admire her grit, they're starting to worry. No one wants to see her forced into an early rest or worse, a season cut short. But unless something changes soon, that's a real possibility. And the fallout from that would ripple far beyond just one team. There's also the question of priorities. Is it worth risking long-term health for short-term gains? Shouldn't development, care, and pacing take precedence over appearances and ticket sales? It's hard to say no to the bright lights and the cheers, but those things fade. What lasts is health. And what Caitlin needs now more than anything is time not just to heal, but to reset, to breathe, and to come back stronger. Still, it's not all doom and gloom. She's resilient.
She's proven that a dozen times over. But even the toughest competitors need help. And this is where the organization, the league, and the broader community need to step up. This can't be on her shoulders alone anymore. The game has grown too much, the stakes are too high, and the margin for error is too small. You think about what could have been done differently. Maybe her minutes could have been managed better. Maybe the medical staff could have intervened sooner. Maybe the officials could have taken control of the physicality before it escalated. It's a series of maybes, each one small, but together, they paint a picture of a system that didn't act fast enough.
Her injury, whether minor or more serious, is a wake-up call, not just for the Fever, but for the league as a whole. It's a signal that things need to change, that player care can't be reactive, that rules and officiating have to match the intensity of the competition, that rising stars deserve more than applause. They deserve protection, consistency, and clarity. And maybe, just maybe, this moment will lead to that change. Maybe Caitlyn's struggle will open eyes and spark conversations that were overdue. Maybe teams will invest more in prevention. Maybe referees will tighten up their calls. Maybe the league will finally catch up to the speed of its own growth. Because here's the truth, if someone like Caitlin Clark isn't safe from wear, fatigue, or injury, then no one is. If her star power doesn't earn her consistent whistles or thoughtful load management, then what chance does the next young star have? This isn't just about now. It's about the future, and the future can't afford to lose someone like her.